For 2 straight years, the rest of the NFC East penciled the New York Giants in as a free win. That ends now. The Giants handed John Harbaugh a 5-year contract, and he shows up carrying 193 career victories and a Super Bowl ring. The franchise that stumbled to 7-27 over 2 seasons is gone. What sits in its place is a young quarterback nobody wants to line up against. And we will get to exactly why in a minute. Start with the offense. Jaxson turned his rookie year into one of the best debut seasons a Giants quarterback has ever produced. And he did it with his top receiver and his best back, both watching from the sideline. Now Malik Nabers is coming back. Cam Scatterbo is coming back. The front office added a Pro Bowl tight end, a punishing fullback, and a rebuilt offensive line. Then they did something that looked backwards on paper. They traded away the best defensive player on the roster, and somehow the defense got better. Hold that thought. On defense, Brian Burns posted a career high in sacks. Abdul looked like a future star down the stretch, and the Giants spent premium draft capital on a linebacker some teams rated as the best player in the entire class. The question is no longer whether this team has talent. The question is whether one man on the sideline can turn close losses into wins, because that one difference decides if the Giants crash the NFC East party or watch from outside again. Let us start with the record, because the record is lying to you. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Giants and all the NFL content. Can we get 500 likes on this video? 4 wins and 13 losses looks like a disaster. Look closer and a different team appears. The 2025 Giants blew 5 fourth-quarter leads. 4 of those were double-digit leads, and every single one of them happened on the road. Do the arithmetic. Flip even 3 of those collapses, and this is an 8-win team knocking on the playoff door. Flip 4, and you are talking about a division contender. The talent was never the problem. The finish was. Go game by game, and it stings. In Denver, the Giants led 26-8 in the fourth quarter and lost 33-32. In Chicago, they carried a 10-point lead into the final minutes and lost 24-20. Against Detroit, another 10-point fourth quarter lead vanished in overtime. These were not blowouts. These were games the Giants controlled and gave away, and the common thread was a defense that could not close and a staff that could not steady the ship. 3 problems produced that record. A defense that ranked near the bottom in points allowed under its first coordinator. A special teams unit that leaked points. And leadership that could not hold a lead when it mattered most. None of those are talent problems. All 3 are fixable, and the fixes are exactly what this offseason was built around. To understand how far this team already came, you have to watch how the season actually unfolded, because the story underneath that ugly record is the reason for all the optimism. So let us walk through how the year actually played out. The Giants opened 0-3 with Russell Wilson under center. In week 4, they handed the job to Jaxson, and the rookie never gave it back. He beat an undefeated Los Angeles Chargers team in his first start. He scored an opening drive touchdown in each of his first 3 starts, joining Patrick Mahomes as the only quarterbacks to do that since 1991. He was named Offensive Rookie of the Month for October. A star was being born in real time. Then the injuries arrived. Malik Nabers tore his ACL in week 4. In the very game Dart made his first start. A few weeks later, Cam Scatterbo dislocated his ankle in Philadelphia and was gone for the year. By late October, the rookie was running an offense without his best receiver and his most explosive playmaker. He still finished with 2,272 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions. And he added 9 rushing scores, the most by a Giants quarterback in a single season in franchise history. The wins would not come, and the losses piled up in the cruelest ways. At 2-8, the Giants fired head coach Brian Daboll. Mike Kafka took over as interim and steadied things, going 2-5 the rest of the way with wins over the Raiders and the Cowboys to close the year. Everyone understood the truth by then. The roster had a franchise quarterback and real young pieces. What it did not have was a leader who could turn all of it into wins. That search ended with the biggest hire of the entire offseason. Now let us talk about the man they hired. In January, the Giants gave John Harbaugh a 5-year, $100 million contract, which NFL Network reported tied him with Andy Reid as the highest paid coach in football. This is not another first-time hire. Harbaugh spent 18 seasons in Baltimore, won 180 regular season games, reached the playoffs 12 times, and won Super Bowl 47. Chairman Steve Tisch put it plainly, calling him a proven winner whose teams are disciplined, resilient, and prepared. Those 3 words describe everything the Giants were not. Here's why that matters for this specific roster. Harbaugh owns the most road playoff wins of any coach in league history, 8 of them. His teams did not blow leads in December. They closed games out. They built an identity through accountability, and they developed young players the right way. Remember, the 2025 Giants lost because they could not finish. You're hiring the exact profile of coach whose entire career is built on finishing. The fit is almost too clean to believe, and Harbaugh does not arrive alone. He brought 14 former Ravens coaches with him, including defensive coordinator Leonard Wilson and offensive coordinator Matt Nagy, a former coach of the year. His coaching tree already produced head coaches all across the league, which tells you the standard he sets tends to travel. On draft night, he summed up his vision in one line, saying he had a bunch of giants, figuratively and literally. He was drawn here by the young talent, and the way he reshaped this roster started with one uncomfortable trade. So let us talk about what walked out the door, because one move funded everything else. The Giants traded Dexter Lawrence, one of the best interior defensive linemen in football, to the Cincinnati Bengals for the 10th overall pick. Trading a player in his prime is uncomfortable, but with the 5th pick already in hand and real money coming due, General Manager Joe Schoen turned a contract window into premium draft capital. That is how the Giants ended up with 2 top 10 picks in the same draft, the first time this franchise pulled that off in decades. Lawrence was not the only exit. Slot receiver Wan'Dale Robinson left for Tennessee. Cornerback Cordell Flott, who started 14 games a year ago, followed him there. Those are real losses, and the Giants did not pretend otherwise, but every one of those departures came with a plan attached. The receiver room was getting a philosophy change. The corner spot was getting rebuilt with cheaper, younger options. And the trench money freed up by moving Lawrence went straight back into the roster. Here's the part that sounded backwards in the opening. Move your best defensive lineman and the defense improves. The math works because that single trade delivered a top 10 pick, cap flexibility, and the freedom to attack multiple needs at once. Instead of one great player sitting on a thin roster, the Giants chose depth, youth, and a coaching staff that puts players in position to win. What they did with that flexibility in free agency is where the roster really started to take its shape. Now let us talk about free agency and notice the pattern. Almost every key addition has a Harbaugh or AFC North fingerprint on it. Linebacker Tremaine Edmunds signed a 3-year, $36 million deal to fix a run defense the Giants themselves flagged as their biggest weakness. At 6'5", he is the size and range they lacked, and he said Harbaugh was a reason he came. Tight end Isaiah Likely got 3 years and $40 million to give Dart, the seam threat this offense has missed for years, after spending his early career in Harbaugh's Baltimore offense. The connections keep going. Cornerback Greg Newsome took a 1-year, $8 million deal and told reporters that seeing Harbaugh land in New York made this one of his first choices. Fullback Patrick Ricard became one of the highest paid at his position, a direct signal that this offense wants to run the ball and punish people at the line of scrimmage. And defensive tackle DJ Reader arrived on a 2-year deal to help fill the space Lawrence left inside. None of these were random additions. Every signing served the identity. Add in receivers Darnell Mooney and Calvin Austin, plus a veteran presence in Juju Smith-Schuster. And the supporting cast around Dart looks nothing like the injury-ravaged group from a year ago. This is a roster built to control the trenches, protect a young quarterback, and finish games. Free agency was only half the plan, though. The other half came from a draft class that ESPN and others graded near the top of the entire league, and it started with a pick that split the room. So let us get into the draft. The Giants held 7 picks and spent the first 4 on the spine of this roster. At 5th overall, they took Ohio State linebacker Arvell Reese, and that split the room. Some questioned spending a top 5 choice on an off-ball linebacker, but Reese was a consensus top 5 player, a 6'4" athlete whose pass rush profile drew comparisons to elite edge talent. Teammate Colton Hood said, "You see how big he is? That he came in looking like the Hulk. Pair him with Abdul Carter, and the front 7 turns into a nightmare." At 10th overall, the pick from the Lawrence trade, the Giants grabbed Miami lineman Francis Mauigoa, widely seen as the best offensive line prospect in the class. The wrinkle is that he is moving inside to guard, where the need is urgent and where he took reps in college. At 6'6" with a mean streak, he is exactly the mover Harbaugh wants up front. Then in the second round, at 37th, the Giants added Tennessee cornerback Colton Hood, a physical, ball-hawking defender who could form a real tandem with Paulson Adebo once he settles in. In the third round, they traded up for Notre Dame receiver Malachi Fields, a 6'4", 218-pound target built to bully defensive backs and win jump balls opposite a healthy Neighbors. Now the honest counterpoint, every one of these players carries risk. Reese is raw. Mauigoa is switching positions. Hood started only 1 full college season. The upside is enormous, but none of it is guaranteed. What is guaranteed is that the Giants now own a young core at every position that decides modern football. And that core is the whole point. Step back and look at what this franchise stockpiled. A 23-year-old franchise quarterback in Dart, a top 10 receiver in Neighbors, when healthy, an explosive back in Scatterbo, a rising pass rusher in Carter, who earned an 84.5 pass rush grade from Pro Football Focus, lined up next to a proven closer in Burns. Add Reese, Mauigoa, and Hood from this class, and the Giants have real youth at quarterback, receiver, pass rusher, offensive line, and cornerback. That is the young quarterback nobody wants to face, surrounded by a core built to grow together for years. Now the honest part. This is not a Super Bowl team in 2026. Philadelphia still owns a championship core. Dallas still fields one of the best offenses in the league. Washington is no pushover. So temper the ceiling. The realistic target is the playoffs, and it is genuinely within reach if the injury luck turns. The biggest variable is not the talent. It is whether Harbaugh does what he has always done and turns last year's close losses into this year's wins. Everything hinges on that. Here's the bet. A healthy Dart, Neighbors, and Scatterbo behind a rebuilt line with Harbaugh finishing games puts this team at 8 to 10 wins and squarely in the playoff hunt. Some of you think that is too low, and some think it is homer talk. Drop your win total in the comments and tell me if the Giants steal the NFC East this year, then subscribe before the next breakdown drops. For the first time in a long time, this team is trending up, and the rest of the division should be nervous.